March 17, 1943. Turpin suffer 76 to 78 Berlin. The coffee splashed across intelligence reports that would have meant execution if discovered by the Gestapo. Admiral Wilhelm Canaris, chief of German military intelligence, had slammed the folder onto his mahogany desk with such force that his porcelain cup overturned, staining documents that contained the Third Reich's death warrant written in production statistics. Impossible! The Americans are feeding us propaganda through turned agents. It was March 17, 1943, and through the tall windows of Abwehr headquarters on Berlin's Tirpitzufer, Canaris could see the Landwehr Canal, where Rosa Luxemburg's body had been dumped 24 years earlier. Now he held intelligence that challenged not just Nazi propaganda, but the entire mathematical foundation upon which Germany had gambled its existence. According to intercepted communications and reports from agents still operating in Mexico City, Ford Motor Company's Willow Run plant was producing one B-24 Liberator bomber every hour. Not every day, not every shift, every hour. The B-24 Liberator, 1.5 million individual parts, 450,000 rivets, 30,000 separate components assembled into an 18-ton aircraft, rolling off an assembly line faster than Germany could produce a simple military truck. Major Friedrich Wilhelm Heinz stood at attention before Canaris's desk. He had triple-checked the intelligence through 17 independent sources. The numbers remained consistent, terrifying in their implications. What neither man fully grasped was that this moment would trigger the most devastating intelligence failure in modern warfare. Not a failure to gather information, but the systematic inability of German leadership to accept reality when it contradicted their worldview. The roots of this catastrophic miscalculation traced back to December 1941. 4 days after Pearl Harbor, Luftwaffe Chief Hermann Göring had dismissed American production claims with characteristic arrogance. The Americans can only build refrigerators and razor blades, he told Hitler at the Wolfschanz. Their democracy makes them weak. Their mongrel population makes them inefficient. Their Jews make them corrupt. By early 1943, German intelligence networks across the Americas were reporting something that shattered every assumption of Nazi racial theory. The reports came through Mexico City, where Abwehr agent Georg Nicholas had cultivated sources among American businessmen traveling between Detroit and Mexican oil fields. These executives, unaware their dinner conversations were being transcribed, spoke casually of industrial miracles. On February 3, 1943, Harold Morrison, an American oil executive, attended a reception at the German-Mexican Commerce Association. After several tequilas, Morrison began describing his recent tour of Willow Run, arranged by Ford to showcase capabilities to potential investors. "What I saw defies description," Morrison said, while Wolfgang Blum, a German agent posing as an Argentine leather merchant, memorized every word. "The assembly line is over a mile long. The building is so vast that clouds form inside it, and it sometimes rains within the factory. They have 42,000 workers, including thousands of women, Negro women, building the most complex machine ever created." Morrison sketched on a napkin. "The bomber has 2 bomb bays, each holding 4,000 pounds of ordnance. 4 engines, each producing 200 horsepower. They produce them in sections, sub-assemblies, Ford calls them, that converge like rivers flowing into the sea. When Bloom asked about production delays, Morrison laughed. That's what Consolidated Aircraft thought. They said you can't build planes like cars. But Ford broke the bomber down into 20,000 separate operations. A woman who yesterday was making breakfast for her children now installs hydraulic lines. They train workers in days, not months. Through Spanish channels came even more detailed intelligence. Colonel Jose Ungria, Spanish military attaché in Washington, secretly provided information to Germany in exchange for tungsten shipments. In March 1943, Ungria met Charles Sorensen, Ford's production chief and Willow Run's architect, at the Argentine embassy. When I visited Consolidated San Diego plant in 1940, Sorensen explained, believing he spoke to a neutral party interested in post-war purchases. They were building B-24s outdoors, each one different, taking 180,000 man-hours per aircraft. I knew we could do better. Sorensen described spending one night in his San Diego hotel room sketching the entire production flow. We would build bombers like cars, not by having workers swarm over stationary aircraft, but by moving aircraft past stationary workers, each performing specific tasks repeatedly, achieving perfection through repetition. When Ungria asked about workforce challenges, Sorensen's response would have horrified Nazi ideologists. Women comprise 40% of our workforce. They're actually better at detail work. We have Negro workers operating sophisticated machinery. Democracy means utilizing all available human resources. Swedish engineer Eric Lundqvist visited Willow Run in March 1943 and reported, "The plant operates with efficiency defying European understanding. They use 1/600 specialized machine tools, many designed for single operations. The capital investment is staggering, perhaps $200 million for tooling alone." Japanese naval commander Toshio Masuda's coded message to Tokyo, intercepted by German intelligence, provided independent verification. This single factory produces more aircraft monthly than the entire Japanese aviation industry. By April 1943, Canaris had assembled comprehensive data confirming Willow Run was producing 650 B-24s monthly at peak, with total American B-24 production exceeding 1,400 monthly. Desperate for ground truth, he had earlier authorized Operation Pastorius, inserting saboteurs via submarine to gather intelligence firsthand. George John Dash, who led one team, had lived in America for 20 years before returning to Germany in 1939. His secret orders from Canaris were to photograph Willow Run before conducting sabotage. After landing at Amagansett, Long Island on June 13, 1942, Dash surrendered to the FBI within days, tormented by what he knew about American capacity. During interrogation, Dash revealed something that stunned his captors. "Canaris told me Berlin doesn't believe your production figures. They think Willow Run is propaganda. He wanted photographs, employee accounts, proof that would force Goering to accept reality." When asked why German leadership refused to believe America was producing a bomber per hour, Dasch laughed bitterly. "I lived here. I've seen your automobile factories. I tried telling them if Ford could produce a car every minute before the war, they could produce a bomber every hour during it. They accused me of defeatism." On April 20th, 1943, Hitler's birthday, Canaris personally presented the intelligence to Goering at Carenhall. The meeting became legendary among Abwehr officers for Goering's complete rejection of reality. Canaris spread photographs and documents across Goering's massive oak table. "Herr Reichsmarschall, we have confirmation from 17 independent sources. Ford's Willow Run plant is producing one B-24 Liberator every hour." Goering, now weighing over 280 pounds, picked up a photograph showing the mile-long assembly line. "Do you take me for a fool, Canaris? These are obviously wooden mock-ups. The Americans want us to believe they build aircraft like sausages. This plant probably produces 50 bombers monthly at most." When Canaris showed intercepted railroad manifests documenting aluminum shipments, Goering laughed. "Where do they get this aluminum? From their Negro workers? From their women riveters? You've been deceived by American propaganda." A week later, Canaris briefed Hitler at the Wolfschanze. With Generals Jodl and Keitel present, Hitler listened impatiently while preparing for Operation Citadel at Kursk. "Mein Führer," Canaris said, knowing he risked his life, "if Americans are producing 400 B-24s monthly, plus B-17s, plus fighters, plus British production, aerial bombardment will soon exceed our defensive capabilities." Hitler's response was predictable. The Americans mass-produce simple goods, automobiles, refrigerators, but bombers require precision, skill, dedication. It took us 6 years to prepare. They claim achievement in 6 months? Impossible. Unknown to Nazi leadership, Canaris had obtained film footage of Willow Run through Swiss intelligence contacts. The 5-minute film, smuggled via Spanish diplomatic pouches, showed the assembly line in full operation, B-24s in every stage moving past workers with mechanical precision. Watching with his deputy Hans Oster in a locked room, Canaris saw the future of warfare. "My God," Oster whispered, "it's true." Canaris burned the film with his cigarette lighter. "We cannot show this. They would accuse us of creating fake footage or treason." By November 1943, aerial photographs obtained through Spanish diplomats provided additional evidence. German photo analysts spent weeks studying the images, concluding parking lots contained 12,000 cars, indicating 3-shift operations. 47 completed B-24s sat ready for delivery. Rail sightings showed dozens of freight cars delivering materials. Hauptmann Walter Hühne wrote, "Photographic evidence confirms human intelligence. Production rate appears accurate. Recommend immediate strategic reassessment." Goering dismissed the photographs as clever American manipulation using scale models. Albert Speer, Hitler's armaments minister and the only Nazi leader understanding industrial production, secretly obtained the intelligence. His diary entry for May 15, 1943, reveals his despair. If Willow Run figures are half accurate, we face not defeat, but annihilation. They produce more aircraft monthly than we do yearly, but I cannot speak this truth. To do so would be my death warrant. Dr. Otto Ohlendorf, economist and SD officer, analyzed American economic data. His December 1943 report to Himmler was stark. Ford's peacetime production was 1.1 million vehicles in 1941. They've converted this capacity to bombers. By June 1944, Americans will have produced enough B-24s alone to drop our entire London bombing tonnage every single day. On Christmas Eve, 1943, Canaris received American production projections for 1944 for B-24 Liberators, 18,000, B-17, Flying Fortresses, 12,000, Fighter, aircraft, 40,000, total 86,000 aircraft. Hitler's response: the Americans claim they'll produce more aircraft in 1944 than all nations have produced in history. Absurd. By February 1944, Canaris was removed, suspected of defeatism. His replacement, Walter Schellenberg, was a Nazi loyalist who wouldn't contradict leadership. But reality couldn't be ignored forever. During Big Week, February 20th, 25th, 1944, over 1,000 American heavy bombers attacked German aircraft factories, dropping more tonnage in 6 days than the Luftwaffe had dropped on Britain during the entire Blitz. Luftwaffe ace Adolf Galland told Goering, "I've counted 800 bombers in a single formation. These planes are real, dropping real bombs." On D-Day, June 6, 1944, over 11,000 Allied aircraft appeared over France. The Luftwaffe mustered fewer than 300 fighters in response. Field Marshal Hugo Sperle messaged Berlin, "Enemy aerial superiority is absolute. Our intelligence was correct. We were deceived not by Americans, but by ourselves." By April 1944, Willow Run achieved peak production, 453 aircraft in 468 hours, one B-24 every 63 minutes. The plant employed 42,331 workers, 11,000 women, 26%, 3,800 African Americans, 9%, 1,200 disabled workers, 3%. This demographic would have shattered Nazi racial ideology, the inferior races and weaker sex outproducing the master race by orders of magnitude. After the war, surviving German intelligence officers revealed the failure's full scope. Walter Schellenberg testified at Nuremberg, "We knew about American production by early 1943. Every professional intelligence officer understood the accuracy. But reporting this truth risked execution for defeatism." The German officers who tried reporting truth paid heavily. Wilhelm Canaris, executed April 9, 1945. Hans Oster, executed April 9, 1945. Alexis von Rouen, executed October 1944. The Strategic Bombing Survey confirmed German intelligence accuracy. Willow Run produced 8,685 B-24s. Peak production, $650 monthly cost per aircraft, dropped from $238,000 to $137,000. Albert Speer explained, "Post-war, accepting Ford could produce bombers hourly meant accepting our worldview was wrong. that democracy wasn't weak, but strong. Racial mixing didn't create weakness, but strength. Women could do men's work. It meant we'd started an unwinnable war. Who would tell Hitler that? The failure's consequences were catastrophic. Germany continued producing obsolete aircraft, wasted resources on impractical wonder weapons, planned for hundreds of bombers instead of thousands, and delayed peace overtures. By war's end, total B-24s produced 18 times 188, Willow Run 8,085, total American aircraft 1942-45, 303,717, total German aircraft 1942-1945, 94,700. America produced 3.2 times more aircraft while fighting a two-ocean war. Rose Will Monroe, the real-life Rosie the Riveter, operated a rivet gun on Willow Run's line. In 1984, she recalled, "We knew we were building something important. Every rivet helped end the war. We worked double shifts, sometimes sleeping in parking lots between shifts." At the 1985 Yankee Air Museum dedication at Willow Run, Monroe met former Luftwaffe pilot Hans Rudel. When he asked how America built so many so fast, she answered, "Honey, we just went to work and did our job. Democracy isn't complicated. It's free people doing their best." Rudel responded, "We were told democracy made you weak. Diversity made you inefficient. We were told lies that killed millions." In Berlin's ruins, May 1945, American officers discovered a final German intelligence report dated April 20th, 1945, Hitler's last birthday. Willow Run production confirmed, "We reported this truth 2 years ago. We were not believed. Germany dies not from lack of intelligence, but from lack of wisdom to believe intelligence contradicting what we wish to be true. Let future generations learn reality doesn't bend to ideology. Mathematics doesn't yield to mythology. Truth ignored becomes tragedy." The report was never delivered. By then, Hitler was in his bunker. The 1,000-year Reich had days to live, and thousands of American bombers, many built at Willow Run, delivered the argument German intelligence had tried making 2 years earlier. History's verdict is clear. German intelligence was excellent. German intelligence acceptance was catastrophic. In that failure to believe uncomfortable truths lies a warning. Those who deny reality for ideology will be destroyed by it. Willow Run built more than bombers. It built proof that democracy works, diversity strengthens, and freedom produces. German spies counted them all. German leaders believed none, and that disbelief killed the Third Reich as surely as any bomb.